Hi guys, welcome back. In the last video I played Crazy Castle, and here's the park where I was about halfway through. I had gentle rides at the front, thrill rides just inside the castle walls, and then once I got to this part here I left two spaces blank either side of the path in order to build roller coasters. In the finished park I was left with 12 roller coasters, and they were 6 pairs of 6 different types of coasters. So I'm going to run you through the process I used to design and build the coasters. So the first one I built was a wooden wild mouse. So I placed down these station blocks in order to try and work out which station length gave the best bang for your buck, the most cars per tile. So that's one tile, and that gives us 2 cars. That's 2, that gives us 4. So we seem to be doubling. 5, not quite double there. There you go. That's 8. 8 there for 5 tiles. 9 for 6. So after looking at all those, I settled for a station that was going to be 5 tiles long. So then I did my first design. So it's just quite a simple, a steep chain lift. I added this little, as you can see, it comes out of the station, then it does a little hairpin bend and then goes up the chain lift. That's because when I wanted to do the drop, I wanted it to come underneath that bend, underneath the entrance, over the exit, and then back to the station. So that was the basic layout, so I could save it, so I could run a test, save it, complete with the paths, and then I could then go in and edit it. So that came back, medium excitement levels. Okay, so I then took that design and I added a little bit extra after the lift. So the ride is almost identical apart from this section here. So instead of coming straight down after going up the chain lift, it goes down a little dip around some bends, another dip, some more bends, another hairpin, and then on the drop then we're using this previous section here. It's like a head chopper element. Then it goes down, another head chopper element underneath this hairpin bend and the entrance, then over the exit and back to the start. And that gave us 6.41 excitement. Intensity 7.5, that's fine. The nausea is very low. And then what I did then, I didn't do this in the final park, but just to try and experiment, what I did was, after saving the ride, you place it, then what you'll need to do is you need to delete a section or here, and then I raise the land, then just build the section back, because the game doesn't save underground sections. And then I did the mirror image, and that takes it up to just below 7 excitement, and a little bit of scenery or another ride going past or something that will easily take that above 7. We'll have a little look here. Is there something we can add? Just quickly, there you go. We'll add a couple of bits of water scenery. See if that affects it. Maybe put on fast forward. So it runs through. There you go. It's taking up over 7 for what? About £100 worth of scenery. And that was the ride. Very popular in the park. Looks very good. It's very compact. 16 by 4 tiles. Let's see how it compares with the ones that come with the game. So this one comes with the game. 3.5 excitement, just under 4,000. Here's the one I built. So it's half the price, twice the excitement. So yeah, that was the wooden wild mouse. Next up, I'm going to show you Virginia Reel. So for the Virginia Reel, I followed the same process. checking the length of the station. I've highlighted 2 here. That one, 5 tiles gives you 8 cars, and then 11 gives you 16. In the end I settled for the 5. I thought that one would be far too long. So here's the basic design. In order just simply to get a little circuit going and returning back to the station, and then including the paths in. That way then, if I'm editing it, I can leave the paths where they are. I'm going to fiddle about with that. There's nothing worse than building a cool ride only to then struggle to get the paths right. So that one, not very exciting. That's fine, we can work with that. So then from here then, I just started adding a bit more, making the ride a bit longer, adding some more bends, another chain lift section, just to give it more speed when it's coming down the hills. So here where it's going quite fast, it's got a wide bend and then a little tighter bend coming back, going underneath the track. There's a head chopper element, and again here with the corner, and again going underneath here, and then finally returning back to the station. But this one, the lateral G's were very high. So then for the next design then, it's just a case of making it a bit slower. Because what you've got to remember is when the car's at the top of the ride, that's when it's got the most potential energy. In order to get that car back to the station, you need it to come down, but not come down too quickly, and not with too many sharp bends. So what I've done is I've extended the ride. So there's this one here was 974 feet, and this one here 1282. So I've extended it by around a quarter, in order to make it slow when it's going down some dips. Maybe made some of the corners a bit wider where needed. Check that out. 5.98. Again, the lateral G's are still quite high, but I know that I'm heading in the right direction because the excitement's nearly 6. So if I can just curb that lateral G's, I know I should be on to a good ride. And then there's the final ride there. So again, it's just a case of going into the ride, maybe making some of the hills a little shallower, or maybe making a little bit of an incline before a bend, maybe making some of the bends wider, just in order to scrub some speed off the finished ride. And then we have the final Virginia reel, 14x4 blocks, excitement of 6. Again, when you put that in a mirror image, that excitement will go up, probably by around half a point to 10%. See how that stacks up against the stock rides. Have I passed it? Yes, first one. So there's Crazy Nights, 3,000. There's mine, 4,000. So it's a bit more expensive, a little bit larger. Excitement's fairly. There's one of the stock ones, very similar. So they stack up quite similar. So that was the Virginia reel. Now on to the next one. Again, similar process. Just looked at the lengths of the stations, deciding then between 5 and 8 tiles long. In the end I went for 5. It's just because you've got more cars on the ride, it doesn't necessarily mean you're going to get that many more people, because the cars you might not be able to get that many cars on the circuit at the same time. So this one, 8 cars with a maximum of 4 passengers per car. That gives you 30. Could give you potentially 32 people on a ride. So that's fairly similar to a full-size roller coaster with a large car, with a large train. So again, made a very simple design just to be able to do the paths and then to be able to save it. Very low excitement. So then from there then I've added bits, corners and another chain lift, but high intensity. The lateral G's are far too high, as you can see in the red, but the excitement's high, so you know you're heading in the right direction. You know, if you can just scrub some speed off to take the lateral G's down, then you know you're going to get a good ride. So I think from this one then I've got a brake section there. Let's watch this car now. So here's the car. There you go. It slows it down. So as it's going through the last section then, the lateral G's aren't as high. It's not going as fast around the corners. So you can see how that compares with that. There you go. Whilst the excitement has dropped slightly, the intensity rating has dropped a lot, from 9.2 down to 6.6, and the nausea has dropped a lot as well, down from 7.5 to 5. So you're going to get less people throwing up on your paths. And then here's the final one. Again, I've added a couple of little underground sections there. I didn't put them in the final park in the end, but it's just as a little experiment to see how it would affect the ratings. Initially I tried an underground section underneath the entrance all the way, so it was 4 tiles long to the exit, and then I tried it with just the underground sections underneath the buildings and the open section between, and it actually was a bit more exciting, so I've left it as this. So that's our excitement of 5.85. When the two of them are mirror image, that will go up over 6. So that's the spinning wild mouse. Let's see how that compares to, I can't even remember where it lives. Okay, there it is. So there's Dizzy Mouse. Dizzy Mouse is 6.6, 18 by 7 blocks, 6.6 excitement. Mine, not as exciting, a bit smaller, much cheaper. Rat Race, very exciting, high intensity, again, very expensive. Newton Mouse, more expensive, excitement. So the excitement might not be as high, but it's a lot cheaper. And to be honest, when you've got excitement over 5, you don't really need much more than that, because you can easily charge £5 per ride and guests will happily pay for it. So that's the Spinning Wild Mouse, and those are the rides I placed on this side of the park where the station is there. I'm now going to show you the ones I placed on the other side. So this is the wooden mine ride. In the end, after looking through the different stations, I settled for one that was 6 tiles long. 5 cars, 2 passengers per car, so it's only really a maximum of 10 people per ride. So it's going to give you quite a low throughput on the customers per hour there. I haven't opened it, so you can't see that. So here's the first design that I did. Just wanted to add a few different elements, quite a few head choppers, some dips. I wanted to go underneath one of the buildings, so I went over the entrance and underneath the exit. Very high intensity, that's fine, I was expecting that. Again, it's just a simple case of seeing where it's intense in order to dumb it down a little. So this one here, as you can see, the initial chain lift is a lot lower, so that'll give it less potential when it's at the top. so it'll give you less speed throughout the rest of the ride. So from there then, again, the intensity is still very high, but the excitement has risen up quite considerably. So you know you're heading in the right direction. As long as that excitement goes up when you take the intensity away, then you know that you're onto something. And then, so after that then, I've dropped the initial chain lift down again by a bit more. Included more bends. So I've made, so let's see, this right here is the length 1100 feet, and this one here 1300 feet. So there's an extra 200 feet in amongst the ride of twists and turns in order to scrub some speed off it. Let's have a look, see if we can compare speeds on the ride. Yeah, so the maximum speed's a bit lower, the average speed's a bit lower. Less G's. A lot more airtime on the finished version, so that always helps boost excitement as well. I think the main problem with this one was the last section underneath the station before returning. I think this one here has got a lot straighter. So that one there, 7.28 excitement. Intensity is quite high, but the nausea is, you know, medium. That's fine. So let's see how that compares then to the stock rides. There's Mini Minor. That's the store-bought one, if you say, the off-the-rack one. So that's 7.1 for 4,400, and then there's mine then. So there's excitement. Mine's a bit more exciting, a bit more intense for about 1,000 less. So I'm quite happy with that. That's just a bog standard one I was using as a template. Yes, I'm quite happy with the design for this one. Let's have a look at the next one. So this one is the reverser roller coaster. So I went through the same process with the stations. In the end, I settled for 6 tiles. So here's the first design I built, just to see how it runs and get the paths sorted and then save it. I've got to be honest, even before seeing the results, I was a bit bored simply by watching it. But when it came back, excitement was quite high. So I was very happy with that. So what I did was then, with this one, I made, rather than putting the reverser at the start, I took that out and then made the station longer, simply because there was a bit of dead space. So I figured I'll make the station longer. So as you can see, there's very little time where cars are actually in the station. It'd be nice if you could have maybe an extra one in the station at any one time, just so you can have more guests going on there. So this one then, a tiny bit more excited, not much, it's fine. But what I thought was, now we've got the station this long, could we split the station into 2, like I've done in this one here? That way then you could have one station for exiting and one station for getting on. So I figured that might help the throughput. But then when I checked the stats then, it actually took it back down to only 4 cars, which is the same as if it was just one station. Actually, slightly less. That's strange. So it's even less. So I scrapped that idea, and then what I did, as you can see, I've opened this ride up just so I could test the throughput. And at 2,800 guests per hour, that's I mean, that's quite good. That's up there with some of the better coasters, so I was happy with that. So that gives you 5.2 excitement. See how that stacks up against the... Right, so that's 6.4 excitement for 6,600. What's the footprint on that? 20 by 13. Mine, smaller, much smaller, half the price, and maybe 1 point less exciting. But as I said earlier, once you go over 5, guests are going to... I mean, really, I'm only going to charge... I might put the price up, depending on the park, to £10 when I first open a ride, if it's really exciting. But then before long, you're going to have to drop the price. So I think £5 for a decent roller coaster is adequate. The more you charge them, the quicker you're going to take their money and get them out of the park. And in some parks, you need them in the park longer because you need some high guest numbers. So I'm quite happy with this design. And then obviously once you've got it in pairs, the excitement will rise again. And then I believe we have one more. So this one here is the inverted hairpin coaster. So again, I went through the process of looking at the different lengths of station, and in the end, this one I've highlighted, I went for one that was 6 tiles long. That gives us 12 cars. So I chose a very sort of familiar layout because I've incorporated a few elements from some of the rides that we've just seen. So I've got this little bend here at the start, in order that once it goes up and it comes back down, it can use that as a head chopper. I've then gone, the graphics on here are glitching, so it looks like it's going through the entrance, but it's going underneath the entrance, then above a bend, then comes back down, and then underneath the path, back up, around, back down, then into the station. So that then, I was a bit shocked at that, to be honest, because I don't normally get it spot on the first effort, but I was happy with that. But I thought there must be something I can do to maybe to improve on that. So this one then, what I've done is instead of it coming, it comes up, it goes. I've increased the ride exit path. That way, then it can go underneath that. There's a bit of a raise there, of a raised bit of track there. Then it goes back underneath the path. Again, it's clipping the path. It's graphical glitches there. Goes back up and round, and then when it comes back down, instead of the straight bit we've got here, I've got some hairpins in there in order to take some speed off it before coming down to the final section. It's going fairly slow as it is. So that there, let's have a look how it compares. There you go. So instead of 6.49, it takes up to 6.91. And then this one here then, so I'll leave the original there, 6.91. So then this one here then, I've got those underground sections again. Didn't really do much though. It's only taken the excitement up by 0.05. And I mean, you could probably do a lot more than that by adding a few trees underneath, and you could certainly add a lot more by saving it and adding a mirror image right next to it, as I should add about 10%. In fact, I believe that these two were the most popular rides in the park by a considerable distance. So those are the 6 rides that I built, and using the mirror image tool I was able to build 12 coasters then in my park, and I was very happy with these designs. I learned quite a bit by doing it, and by by going through the process of selecting the station length and then doing a basic design and then improving it slightly, seeing where the problems are, because you've got tools here. So you've got the video where you can watch the car going round, and then you've got the graphs then that tell you. So if you, when you're in the stopwatch, if you can see one of them in the red, you can go into the graphs and then you can see then where it's usually the lateral G is the one where it causes problems. But you can see then where on the ride, and here goes a graph of G's against time. So you can see then where the spikes are. So each of these spikes here, going out either up or down, corresponds with a bend in the track. And then on the vertical G's then, each of these spikes will correspond with either going up or down on the track. See, going up increases the G's for G for gravity, and then down then decreases it. So when it decreases, you've got the feeling of weightlessness. And then you've got altitude then, and speed, or velocity if you want to be posh. And that's my the roller coasters I built. As you can see, 3 of the finished ones on the side. I've got the price down quite low, just to give me some money for when I was building. So I hope you enjoyed the video. If there's any questions or suggestions, please leave them in the comments. If you enjoyed the video, please like and subscribe. And I will see you on the next video. Bye!